tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads from over 200 countries and your #1 source in after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
You're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. To find the elves of
The song makes me so happy. I just want to dance. I love it. What is up, Face Off fans and AfterBuzz fans? Thanks for joining us here at AfterBuzz TV for our Face Off wrap-up show. I'm your host, Danica Kennedy, and here today joining me is the lovely Keaghlan Ashley. Thank you for coming in the studio.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so Keaghlan is on the show right now. She's quite a fun character to watch, as you can tell by her fabulous hair. Hashtag Team Mermaid.
Hashtag Team Mermaid.
Unicorns
Team
too.
Unicorns
whatever.
too. All of the rainbows and sunshine. I think that's why I liked this challenge, was because I am one big rainbow.
Yes. I was very excited when I heard about the Wonderland and the Wizard of Oz hybrid.
Yeah.
We'll have to dive into that later. But first, I want to know a little bit more about you, and so everyone knows who you are. You first started more in like theater, acting, performing, right?
I got my start in musical theater, and I just, kind of out of necessity started doing my own makeup, and then kind of eventually found myself taking makeup courses to be able to do my own makeup. And then just after a little bit of time had passed, I was like, wow, maybe this could be a cool like sublet to my acting profession. And then slowly found myself getting more jobs as a makeup artist than I did as an actor. And I was like, I don't know if that's a compliment about my makeup skills or kind of a diss against my acting abilities. But either way, I kind of just, I've always been that kind of person that says go with what the universe is telling you. So that was where I kind of left.
Well, you can still practice all different types of arts. It sounds like you're very talented in many ways creatively.
I just call it art ADD. I don't really know what to put down and what to pick up, so I'm always just playing with something new, I think, every day.
I feel, I can relate. I'm like dancing, acting, painting, anything that like lets you be creative and be weird in yourself.
Yeah, I'm like a Jane of all trade, master of none, I feel like.
So if money's not involved and, it's not career option, what do you like to do for fun?
What is
like,
this
artistically?
fun? What is this fun you speak of?
I mean, like, would you still just be doing makeup if it wasn't like career, or would you be pursuing acting?
Absolutely.
Or I know you do art, by the way, as well.
This year's kind of been the year of just say yes to any opportunities that kind of come my way. And when Face Off became an option, I was like, yes, absolutely. I want to give this a shot. I want to show the world, that I'm a multifaceted artist, that I have a lot to say, and probably a little bit too much to say, some would argue. But I try to do just about everything I can get my hands on. I just love just expressing myself in art, and so a lot of it ends up, I kind of am like equal parts canvas, equal parts artist. So
it's good to be a go-getter, especially right now for you when you're on this show. I'm sure you're getting so much more recognition. It's helping get your name out there.
It's
Face Off, it isn't just a makeup competition. It's also a popularity contest, and you can
really
win money big time.
I'm trying to win that fan favorite,
I would be all up on that if I was on the show. I'd be like tweeting nonstop. But
I'm a social media kind of aficionado, so I definitely have been like, hey guys, follow me.
I've been blamed for that too. I was told I have a selfie disorder recently.
Is that actually a thing?
I think it is. I might have it. I might need to go to the doctors for it or something.
Yeah, I think the acceptance is the first step in admitting it.
It is. I'm getting close to that, except I posted one earlier.
It's okay.
So,
I didn't post one today, but I definitely posted one yesterday. I mean,
you might hear though. You never know what happens after this after
this
show.
This is a pretty great place to take a selfie, so we might have to do that later. Girl. girl.
We might have
some
to.
Team Mermaid action.
But you guys should definitely vote for her, especially if she's your fan favorite.
Absolutely.
Your makeup
Please
was
do.
amazing last week.
Thank
but
you.
All you have to do is hashtag faceoff with your Twitter handle. What is it?
It's Keaghlan Ashley is my my first and middle name, although it's my professional name. If you just tag that hashtag Team Keaghlan, hashtag faceoff, then you can submit your vote for me as a fan favorite, and
She can win 10 grand, get that money.
Trying to make some monsters on someone else's time.
I bet. So you've been going out of town recently, hitting the road for some of your jobs, right?
I just came back from Houston yesterday, so I'm a little jet lagged, but it's been a blast. Like I did the convention circuit a little bit before I did the show, but now it's a completely new experience, and it's been kind of a whirlwind. So I guess I'm going on tour. That's kind of the way to describe it of what I'm up to these days. So
it's exciting. You get to hit the road.
It's cool. I love traveling. I've lived a lot of different places at this point, so it's a lot of fun to be able to kind of check out different areas of the country and experience the Face Off fan network in different areas other than California.
Do you have any cons coming up or paloozas you're going to participating in?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to be double booked actually for not this weekend, but next weekend. I'm doing Ventura Comic Con. It's the second annual Central Coast Comic Con. I'll be there Friday and Sunday, but then in addition to that, I'll be at Monsterpalooza, Son of Monsterpalooza on Saturday of that same weekend. And so I'll be there with actually probably one of the
most of them. Cast, sounds like.
I think it's actually probably the biggest collection of one season so soon after the show, I feel. And so we're going to be there. Our panel's at 3, so if you can make it out, definitely check it out.
Yeah, I was contacting some of the contestants, and a lot of them aren't locally based here in LA, and most of the responses were, we'd love to be on it, but we're only going to be out for Monsterpalooza. So I know that's really big in the makeup world, especially around Halloween.
Convention. Absolutely. It's one of the biggest, I feel like, for specifically special effects makeup. We have the International Makeup Artist Trade Show, but that's definitely also beauty. And so having Monsterpalooza is it's such a fun show. I did it last year.
Your own makeup for it, dress up?
I mean, I'm just gonna kick it myself. I might cosplay myself, but
you should.
Otherwise, yeah. I have a makeup on the Sunday for Ventura Comic Con, so I won't be able to do anything too crazy for Monsterpalooza itself.
Just dress up a little for fun.
Just get a little cute. Maybe do some purple eyebrows instead of blue or something.
Ooh, switching it up. I should have done blue eyebrows, and you should have done purple.
You need to take the blue eyebrow challenge.
I need to. Is that a real thing?
That actually has become kind of a real thing. It's taken on a little bit of a life of its own.
Can you dive into that? What is it?
Well, so doing the show, there's the Face Off fan page, and when they first started posting pictures of me or pictures of my makeup, the fans, a lot of them had comments about my eyebrows saying like, what is she doing? It's so distracting. And I think it's hysterical. I think it's really funny because I did the blue actually for a makeup. I chose to go blue as an extension of a character that I was going to be performing for Son of Monsterpalooza last year. So I'm coming up to my blue anniversary. But I didn't really think anything of it. I didn't and I'm a natural redhead, so going blue with my eyebrows, is kind of the natural order of things. And so to have so many people kind of like this blue eyebrow backlash, it was really, really funny. But
haters gonna hate, but it makes you stand out whether they like it or not. It really draws attention.
Yeah, I
mean, it's a characteristic thing.
No publicity is bad publicity, and so with that, a lot of my fellow contestants were like, "That's really stupid of the general consensus to say my eyebrows are the reason they don't like me as an artist." And so, they kind of went out and
especially on a makeup show.
Absolutely.
Of course you can as a makeup artist, I would probably have glitter and feathers and crazy things every day.
I love to express myself, and kind of the best way to do that is experimenting with my own look. And so to have that kind of happen was just really, really surreal. But Sig Neutron, Rachel, a lot of the other contestants started stepping up for me and saying, we support Keaghlan Ashley Blue Brows. It's actually a hashtag of itself now, KA Blue Brows. And, you know, people across the country are taking the Blue Eyebrow Challenge now. And so for me, as a way to like make it a little bit more important and say a bigger statement, you know, instead of it just being this joke, why don't we say something special and something important about it and talk about, you know, social media and cyberbullying as a whole.
Oh my gosh, it's horrible.
It's awful. I mean, you know, people really need to understand and take accountability for what they say online because it can affect people in really serious ways. And so, you know, that's
it's
kind of
hurtful to read those things about
absolutely.
yourself online, of course, but all those people you just named, like Sig and Rachel and all those contestants, those are all people that are so confident in who they are and themselves, and they rock it, and that's how you should be too.
Absolutely. I mean,
because
like I said,
those are losers at home that are probably bored at their computer hating on everyone.
I don't really take it personally at all. You know, I have a pretty thick skin, and so for me, it was more about, you know, somebody at home needs to know that it's okay to let their freak flag fly, and it's okay to express themselves however they want to, whether it be blue eyebrows, whether it be, you know, crazy hair.
You be you and just go with it.
Let you be yourself, and so that's really kind of why it's taken a life of its own. I think a lot of artists and a lot of people can resonate with that sort of message that, you know, we should all be able to express ourselves how we want, and this is an art show, so we should be able to express ourselves in that kind of medium as well. And so I've you know, I've had like up to 100 people post their own blue eyebrow challenge. So
that's so funny.
Yeah,
I'll have to hashtag that on our selfie later.
Yeah,
right?
man, take the blue brow challenge.
Take the blue brow challenge, exactly.
But yeah, I definitely wanted to say something a little bit bigger and more important. While people are paying attention to me,
cyberbullying is awful right now.
It's really
too.
Bad, and I think that that's one of the things that, you know, might as well take advantage of, you know, the amount of people watching, and I can actually say something more important than just, hey, check me out on Face Off, hey, check me out on Twitter. You know, there's a lot more that can be said and be done while you have kind of that platform. So that's kind of what I've been, I guess, a part of and spearheading with, you know, Sig, Neutron, and the rest of the cast.
Well, it's probably so interesting to go through that as well, because you're getting so much attention from the show, both negative and positive. It's such a whirlwind.
As many people that have been like negative about anything that has to do with any of us on the cast, there's been twice as many people being super supportive and super amazing. Yeah. So I've gotten to meet a lot of the fans firsthand just doing conventions, and they're some of the most loyal people I've ever met, and I'm so thankful that they continue to watch and they continue to care about what we have to say as artists.
Of course.
So
it's such a fun show to watch.
Yeah,
I like that everyone is themselves in this season too.
I mean, I was definitely
their freak fly, you know.
I was definitely a fangirl of the show before I even really watched, or before I even started auditioning for it myself. So to be on it myself was kind of a little bit of a geek moment.
And it's so hard to even get on it. To just get there in the first place.
Absolutely.
And you've been on it this long. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I mean, I don't know how far you make it yet.
Stay
and you can't
tuned.
tell, of course.
No. I kind of keep saying that it's been such a surreal experience, and it's such a incredible experience. I can't. I'm still pinching myself to think that I'm on the show, and that like I'm still on the show, and that like people get to see the art that I've been trying to show people for years. So it's cool.
Speaking of being artistic and being yourself, you have your own Red Till Dead design company. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it's Red Till Dead Design is basically the umbrella company that I create a lot of different merchandise. I do a lot of paintings.
You have an Etsy page, right?
I do have an Etsy page. It's
some of your artwork.
Yeah, etsy.com/Red Till Dead Design. You can check out some of my work. I do 2D paintings. I sell accessories. I also am in the midst of developing some new merchandise for that as well. And it's basically, I like to say Red Till Dead Design is this umbrella company, and that's where I do all of, you know, the design work. And then
your creative outlet.
Yeah, it's my creative outlet. It's kind of the brainchild. Yeah, and then Make Up Your Mind is actually my brand, which is
I love that. Make Up Your Mind.
Yeah, it's actually the
very
logo.
Punny.
Yeah, I love puns.
Me too.
But the logo itself is actually a lipstick tube with brains instead of lipstick. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's on the horizon. I'm hoping to have some new merchandise with that coming within the next couple of months. So
exciting.
Stay tuned for that. Yeah.
Well, speaking of makeup merchandising, we have to tell you a little bit about Birchbox. You can find the perfect beauty skincare products for yourself effortlessly. And if you're watching Face Off or our after show right right now. I'm sure you use a lot of makeup products and your face breaks out like mine.
I know I beat my face so good.
I'm a makeup hoarder at this point. But Birchbox, you can get access to this beauty editorial intel, and you can subscribe to them. And every month you receive a monthly dose of beauty that's tailored to your profile and what you want. You could get new products and try all their little brand niches and upcoming lines coming out, give you samples, and the subscription is just $10 a month, and you use the promo code AFTERBUZZ, and you get 100 Birchbox points with the purchase and your subscription. So if you use a lot of makeup like we do, which you probably do, you should definitely go to Birchbox and check that out.
That sounds cool. I'm into that. Yeah.
While you're online, too, just go over to iTunes, check out AfterBuzz TV. You can download our podcast. We have so many different shows here, too. Yeah. Face Off, obviously, you're watching it right now. We basically, if you're a fan of any show, we have an after show for it. I've done a good 8 after shows here now.
Oh, awesome.
Lots of different shows. So be sure to go online and check out our other stuff.
Check it out, guys.
Check it out. I want to talk about last week's episode. We weren't here in the studio, so we're going to cover both last week's and this week's. Last week's was the Wizard of Oz Alice in Wonderland challenge, which when I saw the preview, I was like, oh my gosh, that is so cool.
I probably geeked out harder than I ever have about any challenge thus far. It was just literally the dream come true challenge for me.
You and Rachel did an amazing job at that Tin Man. I loved his ear kind of curling, and that model was perfect for that makeup. He was really good at carrying it.
He was really, really awesome, and I was definitely really thankful. I've always tried to strive to create makeups that
kind of work with
the models, because I have that acting background. It
makes such a difference.
It's so important for me to have an actor and really truthfully have an actor that can emote and create, because anytime you're doing a makeup, you're doing it for a film or for TV or a character. And so to have people performing and emoting through those makeups is so important to me. And that was definitely the case for our Tin Man, because I wrote a song for it. We created a whole entire universe for that character. And so
that was so cool. The flower blooming on the top of it was just so creative.
Thank you. I mean, I know for both Rachel and I, I'm a huge bookworm, and so is she. We're both really big girly nerds, but I think for us, we were there's so many different ways you can channel The Wizard of Oz and Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, because there's just so much out there that there's just this whole universe two universes even that you have to kind of draw from. And so for us, we were really let's kind of take it back to the books and let's really pay attention to their backstories and then carry on from there. So it was probably one of the most involved characters I've ever created. And I can't really speak for Rachel, but I could probably say the same thing for her.
Yeah, you guys together worked great as a team and looked great with your
Team
fun
mermaid.
hair color. I loved it.
I'm not gonna lie, a little part of why I wanted to work with her was because she's fabulous.
She is fabulous. You're both fabulous.
Yeah.
My second, or another one of my favorites, my two favorites, I would say, I can't really pick between them, was that flying monkey Joker
that
with
was
the
the
neck.
creepiest. I loved it so much.
Speaking of models that wear the makeup well, that girl is always one of my favorites. It's funny. It's I'm growing attached to the makeup artist while watching the show, but same with the models. I'm that model sucks, and that one's amazing.
That's something that I've really tried to do since I've been on the show, is really try and give that spotlight a little bit to the models, because, without the models, we wouldn't have a show. You wouldn't want to see just a static sculpture of anything. And so, a model can really make or break your character, and she was literally my muse for that first episode, and Amanda's, she kills it.
That was one of my favorite makeups, by the way, so far. Your Life one, where she had the curls and the green makeup, just gorgeous life goddess.
Was some serious fate right there. Everything just fell right into place with that one, and so
that was amazing.
Yeah, she was both it's actually her first season, which was incredible. She had never worn prosthetics before I put them on her. And that could either be a really, really great thing or really, really bad thing. And in my case, it worked to my advantage. And so to see her really also blossom in this competition is really, really cool to see, because she's never done this before.
Yeah, she's been great as a model. Yeah. I've noticed her several times now, because she stays in character the whole time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and I think that's something that, you know, you can always tell the models that really love what they're doing, and that you can really see them really projecting through it. And there's a couple of really amazing, talented models on there that, like, I would love to use again and again and again.
I loved how they did the cards in the wings, like just the little details. But while watching, I was like, that would take so much time. The fact that they did that while doing the makeup and everything else, I was so nervous that
it was an incredible
they would mess up.
Yeah, it was an incredible makeup. I was really just like a little like, man, I wish I had thought of that. But you know,
Dina and Stella have kind of struggled a little thus far. I mean, they have come up with amazing makeups, but when you see the, you know, B-roll of them running around and they're not ready, and they've had some hiccups, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I mean,
in the competition so far, but so has everyone.
Everyone, it's one of those things that anybody can have a bad day, and anybody like I had my bad day last episode. You know,
so under pressure.
Yeah, it's
with time constraints too.
It just, I mean, that's something that like I really like. You know, you can prepare yourself to what you're going to expect on the show, but it's never anything like what you think it's going to be. And so to like put yourself in the position where you're under that kind of pressure and under that kind of literally gun like at your head saying like, get this done now. It's like you never
so much pressure.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so for any of us, like I don't care what episode, like how far we make it, it's just an incredible feat.
Stress
and any one of the contestants are an amazing, incredible artist. Like
yeah, it's so hard to even just get on the show from the beginning.
Yeah, every single one of those artists are just amazing, incredible, and I'm really honored to be a part of that group.
I liked that both the Tin Man and the Flying Monkey stayed with both Wonderland and Wizard of Oz. Mm-hmm. I felt like the other contestants either went way too far or not even close to the rabbit hole at all, you know? Like they didn't go to Wonderland. The Wicked Witch, great makeup.
I loved it. It was so beautiful in person.
The Witch, but it was so Wizard of Oz. It wasn't Wonderland to me at all, and I felt like they could just throw a colorful wig or do a different color paint or even costuming last minute, just like throw something that would make it more psychedelic or colorful.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a missed opportunity, I think. But you know, at that point, like it's also so hard to see like the forest for the trees. Like what you're so focused and so honed in on what you're doing that sometimes it's really hard to see like what you're missing until it's too late.
Exactly, and then it's like,
you're like, well, what do I do now? There's just no time to fix it. And so, I mean, the witch makeup was beautiful in person. It's probably one of the cleanest applied makeup.
And George
I've
and Drew
seen.
Are so talented.
They really are.
They did a great job at the makeup. I just was like, where's the Wonderland? Like, it's not crazy enough or whimsical enough for that. I was just expecting more like colors, I guess, and
I think that like I was even a little bit afraid that ours wasn't going Wonderland enough, and so it's always so hard to tell what the judges are going to think and what they're looking for.
You still had it there though, like Sasha and Jason, theirs really wasn't Wonderland at all.
Yeah, that was definitely and just kind of an just their teamwork, like not really coming together, and it can show like
they got the Cowardly Lion, and Sasha was the Cowardly Lion and wouldn't talk to him about how she wanted to incorporate more of Wonderland and do pinks and purples like the Cheshire Cat. And
it was really like hard to see because, you know, we all called her Sunshine on the show. Like she was literally
so nice.
She's this bubbly ray of sunshine, and like to see her like kind of take a step back, it was like, oh, the sun is set. The sun is not shining today. Like so it was a little like, because she was on the left of us like working, and it was like, come on, like step it up a bit. You've got some ideas. And I know that if she had,
this has happened already though, because she had that happen with the rat with the bomb, where she's kind of like, oh, I'll let the other makeup artist take over, but you gotta compromise and work together.
Yeah, you have to be able to say like, this is my, like, I don't like this idea, or, you know, this isn't what I was really looking for. You know, I think a part of being in a collaboration is the willingness to say, you know, this is what I like from our ideas. Why don't we incorporate this? And so it's also like, you've never worked with some of these people before, and I've been really lucky so far that all of my teammates have been really, really like willing to either listen to my input, or we've been really able to kind of communicate together. And yeah, absolutely. Like I was really lucky with Damien that first episode, or that first challenge, that first partner challenge with our Mack truck, because that was just out of left field what to do with that one. And you know, George and I had such a blast on the tree challenge, so it was like, well,
we had him in the studio. He was great. I had so much fun with him.
He's ridiculous. I love him. It was definitely fun to work with him, and I can't wait to work with him again. So
it just depends on who your partner
Yeah.
is, too,
Yeah.
if you get along well with them.
yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that Sasha and Jason got along great, but just, when in the
working-
heat of the
yeah,
stress,
yeah. I think
confidence,
it's-
Sasha, confidence.
Yeah, right. Girl, like she's got some incredible ideas, and like I would see some
So
of the stuff she would
talented,
do
yeah.
like by herself, and I'm like, girl, like you need to let this, step forward. You need to say this, and you need to show what you got. Cause
Get a little ballsier.
yeah, this is a competition, girl. You got to like fight a little bit, show your teeth a little or something. You got the Cowardly Lion,
Exactly.
So-
I thought it was funny that was the character she got, and then she acted like the character.
It was I think there was so much fate that kind of happened on this, like lucky season number 7. Like I do a character called Rosie the Riveted, and it's like pretty much a steampunk version of Rosie the Riveter, and I was wearing pretty much like a toned down version of that the day we picked our challenge, and I ended up with a Tin Man. I'm like, how do I get a rivet, like how am I a riveter character and then get the Tin Man? It's such a like weird coincidence. So, there's a lot of that going on kind of behind the scenes.
So strange how everything lines up.
Yeah.
I wish I could see more of you guys in the house because you have such fun personalities.
Yeah, there was some crazy, we're all such silly, when you get enough artists together, there's just a lot of silliness that happens, and also a lot of boredom too, so like there's a lot of that you kind of just do some wacky, silly things together.
Sig and Damien's for the Wizard of Oz challenge took all the Wonderland from the other ones, I think, because
they used all of the things.
It was, I mean, I obviously love crazy colors and patterns and fun things, but it was just like an explosion of fabrics and colors, and I loved it, but for Face Off, it was too mask-like.
Yeah.
And it was just funny to me because I was like, they didn't do Wonderland on all these other ones, and then I'm like, oh, well, Sig's and Damien's just like
absorbed all of it.
with
It was a really
all the
cool
Wonderland
concept,
vibes.
though. Like
I loved the look, though.
That was one thing that like they
amazing.
didn't really like show, is that we actually all had an intertwining storyline that we all kind of sat together and were like,
what was it?
Well, it's a little involved, but I like we all
SparkNote summary.
the SparkNote summary. The Tin Man, he fell down the rabbit hole and became the Queen's executioner because he had the axe, and he was going to execute the Cowardly Lion because the Cowardly Lion was the whipping boy to the Queen of Hearts. And in that moment, he sees somebody that he recognizes, and the Tin Man's like, I can't kill this man, or this lion, I should say. And so he ends up realizing he has a heart after all. And so that's kind of where his story comes full circle.
You guys are so creative. You come up with this whole the back plot.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's kind of part of what I do as a makeup artist and as an actor, is I'm a storyteller as well. And
of course.
And I think a lot, like Sig is very much like that as well. Like Scarecrow fell down the rabbit hole and lost all of his stuffing, so he kind of ran around and like took literally all of the things from Wonderland and stuffed him to like refill him.
That makes the character so much more interesting with the backstory.
Absolutely.
Though, because
and then
you're working. I mean, if you're a makeup artist, you're going to be working on movies where there's
already the script in
or,
place. Yeah, totally.
The makeup changes throughout the movie.
And then I believe with the both the Wicked Witch of the West and the Flying Monkey, they ended up in a twister and they got lost together and ended up in different parts of Wonderland. And the Flying Monkey became the jester to the Queen and cut off the wings of the Flying Monkey. And so that's why when the witch came to like free the monkey, he ends up with all the card wings because he built the wings out of cards. And so we all just like had so much fun with that one. We all just kind of sat down and were like, let's create a story from it. And so it'd be a cool movie. Hint, hint, Syfy.
Yeah, Syfy channel. We have a writer right here, AFTERBUZZ TV, if you're needing one. Yeah. Hint, hint.
Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You made Sharknado.
I know, and that blew up. I was at Comic-Con, and it was everywhere. I was like, how did that become so popular?
It's so funny that like I did the convention in Houston, and I saw a bunch of Sharknado cosplays. And I'm like, why? How is it this huge phenomenon?
This big?
So it's like I would love to see some kind of like face-off sci-fi tie-in for a movie or something.
It's so bad that it's good that you can't stop watching.
I still haven't seen it yet, just because I don't know if if I can do
have a drink and enjoy.
Maybe after that.
We need to dive into this week's episode. Now, this one was very interesting.
Absolutely.
We didn't get to see you guys tear.
Sad face.
But we focused on the judges, and I liked that they did this challenge.
I love that they did this challenge.
It supported charities.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is so important to volunteer and support charities, and each judge picked a charity of their choosing.
Yeah.
And they got to choose which makeup artists could help them.
Yeah, that was
and pick their own. And I'm just going to say out front, I felt like this episode was very unfair because they pampered the judges so much compared to you guys as the contestants.
A little bit. I would say that like they definitely got Face Off light. You know, it's not. It's a little bit of a diet Face Off. So
they did not get the harsh critiques. They got to sit down while they were
they didn't get the red circle of death.
They didn't have any of that. They were very relaxed, and they also got to pick who could help them, which many of those people were former face-off winners.
3 of them were winners, and then the other 3 were just all-stars. But all of those artists are just amazing, incredible artists, so they really couldn't go wrong with any of them. It wasn't any amount of like, oh, this person's going to trip them up, you know? They're all assets to any of the teams, so...
I'm glad that they show that the judges are actually talented because there's so many reality show competitions, and I'm thinking of, you know, those singing competitions, and there's like, you know, Kesha or Paula Abdul, and you're like, your voice just isn't that good, or you're a dancer, or
like, what do you mean?
Or like, what? You're judging these amazingly talented people, and you're tone deaf, and I think it's good to show that they actually are talented in what they're judging, even if they haven't done it in a long time, and they're getting help from people that are amazingly talented.
I think it was great for, you know, the fans to see, because I mean, most of us when we go onto the show, we know, you know,
who they are.
We know who these artists are, and like for me to have myself critiqued by these artists was such a humbling experience, because these are people that I've looked up to my entire career.
To have them look at your stuff and to showcase your basically a portfolio in front of them.
So that's an amazing thing, but I don't know how many of, you know, the audience members as a whole know what they do, because, you know, as far as makeup goes, most makeup artists are behind the scenes. You don't really see their face. You only maybe know their name if you're lucky, you know, and so to have them get to show off their skill sets and really like
get to be in the spotlight a little
you know,
bit.
And also I think you get to see who they are as people, because
that's what I liked about this episode. They aren't just like these mean judges.
I think it's a little hard for people to like really realize that they are like just like regular people too. They're
all funny too. The 3 of them were so funny together when they were, you know. I loved when Mackenzie came in and gave the 1 hour warning, and it was so awkward, and they were just like ignoring her. They're like, what?
Like, you do realize she hosts the show, right, guys?
She's like, we have to wrap up soon, okay?
Like, no, we don't want to. So I'm like, well, it's kind of nice to see them get a little taste of their own medicine, you know, to really realize what we have up against us, because there's like always the time. There's so many different things, you know, with Face Off. There's any number of things that can trip you up and either send you home or make you a winner. And so for them to see really what it entails, it was I think a really awesome idea. And I hope they do it again. I would love to see them do a different challenge, or, you know, be able to support more charities and do something else maybe next season.
Yeah, I would love to see that too. I'd like to see them get a little bit tougher criticism too. We'll dive into that, I guess, when we talk about what they did. But they had 2 chess pieces that they had to work with.
That's a cool challenge, too.
And, you know, 2 makeup artists working with each judge, and each judge had, you know, the charity of their choosing that they would like to donate to after the challenge is over. And whoever the winner is, that's where the money goes, obviously. But my favorite wasn't the winner. V. Neal blew me away.
I'm kind of on Team V too. Yeah, like I really loved everything that they all had to offer. But
the girl was so
she was gorgeous,
and sexy, and evil with her piercing eyes. And the red and black.
All of the choices that she made, and I like for me, like I can relate a little bit more to V specifically because she is an on-set makeup applicator. She does that all the time, and that's really where I feel the most comfortable as an artist is on-set makeup application. So for me, it was like kind of definitely Team V, even though I don't want to be that biased. Like I love what they also did, you know, what Glenn and Neville did as well.
All of them were great, but hers was definitely my favorite by far.
I think it personally fit the challenge the most.
Yeah, it meant the challenge the most. I loved the face like popping out with the castle piece.
It was neat. I thought it was definitely like you could really see each of their styles very, very like true to themselves in each of those makeups. So it was cool
Neville
to see.
was the winner, but we were kind of talking about this when we were watching. When the contestants go up, a lot of the times they'll make the actors move their face and make them do all these like movements.
Yeah.
They could not move at all.
Yeah, they were static pieces. It was just like how many
a blinding huge piece of a head, like no facial movement at all for either of them really. And it just sucks that like their criticism, they didn't even get criticism. It was like, this is amazing.
This is
you guys are amazing.
We love it.
And I'm like, they can't move their mouths or see anything. And if it was you guys on the chopping block, they would be like, why did you do that?
Like,
and
they would
like,
have to incorporate CG into that, and like that's not what this challenge is about. So it was definitely like, I don't think you guys are taking your own advice a little bit here. So.
You need to listen to their own critiques.
Yeah.
I liked seeing that when they were behind the scenes. They're like, what would I tell myself right now?
Yeah, that was
I would
great.
Be like, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
It sucks. Don't do this. It's like I doubt they would be that hard on themselves as they are on us sometimes, but
I loved watching Glenn because he seems like such a hard ass and like a mean guy when he's a judge, but he's really funny. I feel like he'd be a fun guy to hang out with. And he's actually like way nicer than he comes across when he's a judge.
I think they definitely like play him up to be kind of like the Simon Cowell of Face Off, but you know, they're
punk Simon Cowell.
Yeah, exactly, like punk rock like goth Simon Cowell. But he's one of the judges that gives kind of the best critique, you know.
Yeah.
There's a lot that they don't necessarily like.
He makes it very clear, like these are the things that you're good at, and these are the things you need to work on.
Yeah,
and
which
do it.
I appreciate that. I definitely have. I don't want people telling me like all of the amazing things I could do, like especially when I'm like in the midst of these huge professional artists. I want to like this is what I could fix about myself. What can I work on? You know, because as an artist, like there's always room to grow and there's always room to learn. And so to have him really tell it like it is and really like give you specific critiques, I feel like sometimes with V, like she'll give you like, I love this or I don't love this. It's not necessarily as much about
what you can work on.
It's just kind of opinion.
Yourself.
And, you know, Neville, he definitely gives some great critique, but I think like I would rather have somebody point blank tell me this is not good, this is why, you know, versus like, oh well, this is all right, maybe you can fix some stuff. But so I love seeing like kind of the goofier side of all of them. It's really, really fun.
I loved that as well. I loved seeing what ideas they threw out there as well. Glenn's was the really cobwebby one. It was way more horror-esque,
definitely,
which is expected from him. But I really liked his makeup. But once again, I felt like the models couldn't move their faces.
The horse was a
really.
static piece, and that was again. I'm like, well, it's a beautiful sculpt. Like everything about those pieces were great, but it's like it's still the static thing that's not really every time you'd always have like them poking at it, seeing how thick the piece was, seeing if they can move and emote with it.
Also, when you guys have your makeup go out there, it's like a black backdrop or they're just out on the stage. With the judges, they had all these crazy props all over the place, and I was like, "Where's the makeup?" I'm so distracted by everything. It was a whole
extravaganza for their makeup.
And then they're just sitting, chilling there,
no big deal. It was
like contestants.
No, I mean there wasn't really any high stakes, which is like, well, you're not going to send a judge home, like
no. It's just like, look, they're talented too.
This is amazing. Let's see how much. But I didn't necessarily notice the time clock as much as they like to point out for us. There was definitely like, hey, finish it.
They were chilling way more than you guys were, but still saying that they were more stressed than they've ever been in their entire lives. It's like, okay, now you get a dose of the own medicine you're giving them.
Yeah, I'm definitely very curious to see how they judge in the future, to see whether their experience is kind of adjusted the way that they critique, or whether they just stay the same and they're just gonna critique just for that sake.
Neville was the winner, and Miranda Jory was on his team. She was here at AfterBuzz when we did the interview with Sasha and George, and she didn't do the interview, but she was on the couch watching and giggling, having a good time. So
she's great.
I was excited to see her. She's awesome.
I've definitely
so funny, so talented.
Yeah, I've been a fan of her work for a long time. You know, she's been featured in Makeup Artist magazine. She's been kind of a golden child of cinema makeup school for a while, and so to see her really get another chance at showing what she's really good at, it was an amazing. She's an incredible sculptor and an incredible applicator. So it was definitely good to see her, you know, win something, because I loved what she did in season 5. I definitely thought she had a lot of great things to offer. So it's always nice to see like them get another shot.
And they got $5,000 to Neville's charity, which was the window between worlds. So if you guys want to check that out online, maybe you can make a donation towards it.
I think he was for the monkeys.
For the monkeys?
Yeah,
Are
the
you sure?
orangutans, yeah. So he had like his Gloria.
Oh my gosh, I wrote down the wrong one. That was between worlds. Was that Glenn's?
Or no, he had the animal.
The Orangutan Foundation. Yeah. So there was 3 different options, but bringing attention to all the different charities they chose from. They have the North Shore Animal League, the Orangutan Foundation, and Window Between Worlds.
It was definitely nice to see at the end they all got to talk about their foundations a little bit and really kind of shed some light, because each one of those foundations, like, I would gladly put my vote towards. You know, like, I'm a huge animal advocate, and then also, like, I love V's charity. I think that's a great showing arts to women and children. I think is really important to kind of empower the women and children of our generation. I think it's really important. And then, you know, the monkeys need love too. So
of course, I'm such an animal lover.
Yeah, me too.
I think it's, you know, if you ever have a spot in the public eye, like as, you know, a celebrity or you're on a show, it's always good to, you know, help the less fortunate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Volunteer, donate to charities.
Yeah.
So
I think it's important
that Face Off is doing that.
I've always said that I would love to see them do a little bit more of that, like if they could get some cooler challenges, or even just some different ones, like doing something with amputees and doing something with like wounded warriors. I think would be a cool option as a challenge or something, and like make more of the challenges be tie-ins to other charities that could do some great work.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, right.
Well, where can they find you online?
I'm everywhere on social media. If there's a social media platform, I'm probably on it. You can find me at Keaghlan Ashley on Twitter. You can find me at Red Till Dead Design on Instagram. And then Facebook.com/Red Till Dead Design for my Facebook fan page. And I think that one's it.
Awesome. And you guys can find me online at Facebook.com/Danica M. Kennedy and on Instagram and Twitter at Danica Kennedy. Thank you so much for coming into the show.
Absolutely.
And
it's been a blast.
I'm excited to see what happens in the upcoming episodes.
It's going to be scary. Stay tuned.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.